Hello and welcome back to Stop and Go F1 for this, our weekly news roundup video, where this week we have one huge story and a couple of ones which are a bit more fun. Before we get into that, though, remember to like and subscribe, and of course, a huge shout out to the members: Dakota, Joyce James, Ron Myers, Cinnamon Strudel, Michael Johnson, Mr. Eurovision 1986, Philip Doganzik, Flandy Skick, No Edam on Sandwiches, and our newest member, Sarah Jowett. If you want to become a member, click the link in the description down below, either on YouTube or on the Patreon. My goodness. Let's get into this, because already we've had a couple breaking news videos in the week. Firstly, we had the one on Tuesday evening, which was about Oliver Oakes resigning from the Alpine team. Then we had the one on Wednesday morning about Jack Doohan being dropped and Franco Colapinto coming in for 5 races. And I, like many others, added those two stories together and went, well, it's very clear to see what has happened here, isn't it, everybody? These two have had a falling out about this. Oliver Oakes didn't want to swap the drivers. Flavio did want to swap the drivers. They've had a falling out, and that's why Oliver Oakes is gone. That's why Colapinto's in the seat. We all pat each other on the back. We say, that's a job well done. Great reporting, everybody. Let's go home. How wrong we were. Because since that fateful day, a newer story has emerged, and this may point to why Oliver Oakes has resigned from the Alpine team. Now, I hope you don't mind, but I am going to read this basically word to word from an article from planetf1.com, because there's massive legal implications to this story, and I don't want to get it wrong. And also, if there is anything that I say in this that might upset anybody who might want to sue, just know I'm taking this from an article from planetf1.com. It was written by Elizabeth Blackstock on the 8th of May at 4:52 p.m. So if anyone out there watching who may be of, I don't know, Russian persuasion that may want to sue someone for saying something incorrectly, I'm just reading an article. With that being said, let's get reading. Former F1 team principal Oliver Oakes is understood to have flown to Dubai straight from the Miami Grand Prix, with the reasons for his trip to the United Arab Emirates being unknown at this time. Oakes previously served as the head of Alpine's F1 team, as well as founding High-Tech GP, a team in junior European single-seater racing. In the aftermath of the Miami Grand Prix, Oakes resigned from his role as Alpine team principal for immediate effect, citing personal matters. Flavio Briatori, who had previously rejoined Alpine as an advisor, will be assuming the lead of the team. According to the Metropolitan Police in the UK, Oakes' brother, William, was arrested with large amounts of cash near the High-Tech GP factory in Northamptonshire. A spokesman for the Metropolitan Police said in a statement given to planetf1.com, William Oakes, 31, born on the 30th of December 1993, of Rugby, was charged with transferring criminal property on Friday the 2nd of May after he was stopped in the Silverstone Park area of Northamptonshire on Thursday the 1st of May 2025 in possession of a large amount of cash. He appeared before Northampton Magistrates Court on Saturday the 3rd of May and remained in custody. Both Oakes brothers are directors of the High-Tech GP company, which is located in the Silverstone Park area. There is no suggestion that Oliver Oakes has any involvement in the matters involving his brother. High-Tech GP has historic ties with Russian oligarch Dmitry Mazepin. In 2016, with High-Tech signing Nikita Mazepin as a driver, it also signed Russian fertilizer company Uralkali, headed up by Mazepin, as a sponsor. Mazepin Sr. also took a partial ownership stake in High-Tech. Through his investment company, Burgeton Management, Mazepin increased his ownership to 75%. but these shares were relinquished to Oliver Oaks through a holding company named Hitech Global Holdings. In March 2022, upon commencement of Russian military action in Ukraine and the imposing economic sanctions upon Russia in the EU and in the UK. In July last year, shortly before Oliver Oaks was confirmed as Alpine F1 team boss, he registered further ownership charges of Hitech GP as he took significant control with 75% or more of shares and voting rights. Upon the previous structure, the holding company could be used to create a legal separation between a business asset and its owners, aiding in the reduction of some liability and taxation. The changes Oaks made it easier for him to control the future of Hitech in terms of sale or succession plan. Most recently, Mazepin paid a personal visit to Oaks during the Bahrain testing ahead of the F1 2025 season. The leading theory that emerged after Oaks' resignation was a potential disagreement between him and the Alpine team over the demotion of Jack Doohan in favour of Franco Colapinto. However, new boss Flavio Briatori said that was not the case. A lot has been said in the past 24 hours, incorrectly associating the decision of Ollie resigning to the alleged disagreement, or that we shared different views, Briatori wrote on social media. This is completely false and far from the truth. Me and Ollie have had a very good relationship and had long-term ambitions to drive the team forward. We respect Ollie's request to resign and have therefore accepted his resignation. The reasons are not related to the team and are quite personal. I will continue to be more and more involved with the team, together with the strong management that we already have in place. We will work hard on improving our position this season and preparing for 2026. Oaks has responded to Briatori's post, writing, "It's been a privilege to lead everyone at Enstone. What a team, what a place. It is a personal decision for me to step down. Flavio has been like a father to me, nothing but supportive since I took the role, as well as giving me the opportunity. Everyone is in place for 2026 and where the dream deserves to be. I believe in Enstone." That is the end of the article. There has also been some people saying that the Hitech cars have been seized, but I can't find any official reports that state that. So that could just be rumour, because as you know, with a story kind of this big, things are just going to stir up. So you don't know what's true, you don't know what's incorrect. So that's out there as a rumour, but I haven't seen any official places actually reported as of yet. So, my goodness. Just when you think you've lost the Mazepins, they turn up again. It's madness. It's utter madness. They just pop their heads up and, the Mazepins are back again. What's also quite weird is, out of everyone involved in this story, it looks like the one who is the least guilty of anything is Flavio Briatori, who has never been the least guilty of anything in his entire life, which is just a madness. We spoke about it at the time when the Mazepins visited pre-season testing, and everyone's like, "Oh, Flavio, what are you doing now? Why are you bringing them back?" Nothing to do with Flavio, everything to do with Oliver Oaks. My goodness, what a story this has become. Surely this is not the end of it. There are some people who are saying that he's flown to Dubai and he's kind of like hiding out in Dubai, whereas others are saying, no, he's not hiding out there, that just happens to be where he is at the minute. So there's lots of stuff going on about this story, and again, you don't know what's true, you don't know what's false, but what is true here is that his brother has been arrested. It's seemingly all connected to the sharing of assets between the Mazepins and whoever it might be. What does this mean for Hitech is a big question. Hitech, of course, a huge team within the junior categories, Formula 2, Formula 3, the European circuits. It's massive, truly, truly massive, and I have no idea how this one's going to play out. Of course, there were rumours at one point, not too long ago, that Hitech were going to buy Alpine, because Hitech did apply to become a Formula 1 team at the same time that Cadillac did, and that got turned down. And of course, Alpine have not been in a great position for the last couple of years. there was all these rumours that, especially with Oliver Oakes there as the team principal, that High-Tech were going to come in and buy the team off them and High-Tech were going to be a Formula One team. That now seems the furthest away from a possibility that it's ever been, because I don't think F1 would want to touch any of this with a barge pole, to be quite fair. But yeah, this is big. This is big, and I imagine it will be rolling on for quite some time. I don't want to speculate too much, obviously, because it is an ongoing legal matter. But yeah, his brother's been arrested. He's in Abu Dhabi. The Mazepins are involved. Flavio Briatori comes out of this looking quite good, which is quite strange. But yeah, another baffling chapter in the story of Alpine of the last few years. I saw loads of places do posts of, like, you know, key people who have left Alpine over the last 5 years. And it is huge. I mean, we talked about people who have left Red Bull recently. In comparison to the people who have left Alpine, it is a madness. You've got, I think, what is it? 6 world championships worth of drivers leaving in Alain Prost and Fernando Alonso. You've also got Ocon who left. You've got every team principal, including Frederick Vasseur, was team principal of that team at one point, which I always forget. But yeah, the sinking ship of Alpine continues to go down. Best of luck, Pierre Gasly. You're our only hope now. We'll see how it goes in Imola. Let's move on to another story here, one which is supposedly more fun. There's only 3 stories to talk about today, and they all get more fun as we progress. That's the least fun. This is the middle fun one, everybody, because Carlos Sainz Sr. is reportedly considering a bid to run for FIA president against the incumbent Mohammed Ben Sulayem, according to Autosport. And at this point, I will be perfectly honest with you, I really don't care who runs against him as long as someone runs against him. Because if no one runs against him, he will just stand again as FIA president. I think the done thing normally is that nobody will run against the FIA president and they say FIA president. The issue is, Mohammed Ben Sulayem, I personally think, is not very good at his job. And it seems to be an opinion shared by many. Of course, there was rumours not so long ago that Susie Wolff was going to be the person to run against him. Those rumours seem to have cooled off recently, but there still could be hints of truth there. Carlos Sainz Sr., why the hell not? You know, Mohammed Ben Sulayem likes to call himself a racer like everybody else. If you wanted to know a racer like everybody else, it's Carlos Sainz Sr. What a legend of rally that guy is. I'm just going to pull up his stats here, because I do not know them off the top of my head. But I've clicked on the wrong thing, everybody. I do apologise. Yeah, 2-time World Rally Champion there is Carlos Sainz Sr. I mean, he's absolutely fantastic, isn't he? And what a great guy. The only thing I would have against him being the guy to lead the future of the FIA is it is a bit of a conflict of interest, because his son is obviously Carlos Sainz Jr. Now, when Susie Wolff was put in position to be, is she the next FIA president, there seemed to be an instant cry of, surely this is a conflict of interest, your husband owns Mercedes. When Carlos Sainz Sr. was put everywhere, everyone went, great guy. It's like, no, there's still a conflict of interest, everybody. That still is there. But, you know, at this point, I really don't care. I don't care. You know what? If we get Mohammed Ben Sulayem out, the stupid swearing rule is gone, but, you know, every now and again, Carlos Sainz doesn't get a penalty. Fine. I'm fine with it. Also, it does put the Sainz family in a tremendously powerful position where Carlos Sainz Sr. is the FIA president and Carlos Sainz Jr. is the leader of the GDPA. I mean, what a like a mafia boss that is. But you know what? As I said, don't care. You know, I saw Mohammed Ben Sulayem, I think, can see the writings on the wall for him. And he's just throwing out all these policies to try and make him popular. We saw most recently, he said we're going to bring back V10s. They're not bringing back V10s. This week he's like, if I stay, we'll get rid of the cost cap. You can spend as much as you want. as a fan, I would like to see the cost cap stay in place because I think it's great. You know, if we go back to the pre-cost cap era where Mercedes are dominating the sport and they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars more than the majority of the grid and they're just killing everyone. Compare that to now, where you have the cost cap, and yeah, not every team is spending the cost cap because they can't afford it, but it's the closest the field has basically ever been in terms of money spent. And we also have the closest the field has ever been in terms of performances of cars, which makes better racing. Of course, we look at Miami and McLaren are miles away than everybody else, but on average, this year, poles have been decided by less than a tenth on average. It's insane. It's madness. So, keep the cost cap. Mohammed Ben Sulayem, go take up golf or something. I'm sure you'll be great at that. But yeah, come on. Whoever it is, don't care. It may even be Dmitry Mazepin. Bring him in as FIA president. What could possibly go wrong? But now, I want to talk about a driver who has emerged on my radar this week. Did some GT3 testing at the Nordschleife. And was absolutely fantastic. And it's a driver I'd never heard of before. Let me show you this picture here. Look at this. This was his name. His name was Franz Hermann, doing some GT3 testing this week. Very talented driver. I couldn't find any of his racing record before, so I don't really know where he's come from, but he's very, very good. Here's a picture of him in his helmet before he went out to the track. Very secretive guy, it seemed. Didn't want to take his helmet too much off during the test, but he eventually did. We can see a picture of his face here. This is the face of Franz Hermann, this new GT3 driver. Let me tell you, tremendously talented. I think if we ever saw a Franz Hermann in Formula 1, he could win multiple world titles. At minimum, I would say, a minimum of 4 world championships, I think, for Franz Hermann. Many, many race wins. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and people aren't going to like this. They're not. I'll be honest with you. They're not going to like this. But I think Franz Hermann could be as good as Max Verstappen. And I know that'll be a controversial thing to say. But all the hallmarks of Verstappen's driving style you can see with Franz Hermann. He could be the next big thing. Will he ever get to Formula 1? We'll have to wait and see. But of course, I'm taking the mick here because that was Max Verstappen testing a GT3 car at the Nordschleife this week. And again, we get closer to the day that the F1 world loses Max Verstappen because he's desperate to drive basically anywhere else at this point. And he threatens it in every media interview, and one day he will just up and leave and go to race GT3 cars or go to WEC or whatever he's going to do. But, hopefully we get him for a little bit longer. But yeah, one day he will do it. The most annoying thing about Max Verstappen threatening to leave Formula 1 basically every single day is that he will never ever achieve the Triple Crown, because I don't think he has any interest in IndyCar or the Indy 500. He will go on to win Le Mans. It's written in the stars. Verstappen will win Le Mans. He may even win it multiple times. And he could win the Indy 500. But I just don't think he cares about it whatsoever. I think the day he leaves Formula 1, he'll go to WEC, he'll race his GT3 cars, and I'll go, right, okay, I'm quite happy here. I will do this until I'm 70. And then that'll just be it. He'll just be set there for life. That'll be it. Right, I told you the last one was a bit more fun. That is the news for now. I hope you're all doing wonderfully well. New video came out on the channel yesterday about Max Verstappen, and how looking at the theory of if having children makes you a slower Formula 1 driver. It's only like a 9-minute video. It's a pretty good one, though. Go check that one out. We'll be back on Tuesday for the retro review of 1981 with the German Grand Prix, which is a very, very good one. Then next weekend is all things Imola, which should be very, very fun. The Red Bull upgrades apparently are coming there, so we'll wait and see. It's also a track where Lando Norris has got the most podiums out of any track in his career, so that should see the start of maybe his championship comeback. We'll wait and see. Until then, though, have a good one. I'll see you later. Goodbye.